In a relatively short time, the world had descended into corruption. God decided that the world was so corrupt that the only way to save it would be to destroy it and start over with a righteous remnant from the old. The world would be flooded, causing any and all life on land to perish. As to who God would use to restart humanity, in this week's Parsha Noach, God chose to save Noach and his family, for he saw that Noach was the most righteous of his generation. In regard to saving all other land-based creatures, God instructed Noach, Mikol ha-behema ha-Torah tikach lecha, shiva ish v'ishto. From every animal that is tahor, take 7 pairs of male and female. Umin ha-behema asher lo tahora hi, shnaim ish v'ishto. And from every animal that is not tahor, take 2 pairs of male and female. What defines an animal to be tahor or non-tahor, and why would Noach need to be taking 7 pairs of these tahor animals instead of 2? Virtually all the midrashim and commentators understand that tahor means that these animals are kosher animals. How or why can that be possible when there is not yet a concept of kosher? There are basically 2 approaches suggested. One possibility is that these animals would in the future be designated for food for us, so they would need to be tahor in order that we will be able to eat them. A second approach is that it wasn't so much that the animals needed to be kosher per se, but that these would be animals that could and would be offered up as sacrifices in the temple. Whether these tahor animals are designated to be food or to be sacrifices, it would need to be guaranteed that the future supply would not run out. God therefore instructed Noach to take 7 pairs of these types of animals in order to ensure that in the future there would be enough animals for all food and sacrificial needs. But if animals were to be food or to be brought as sacrifices in our future, why was there a need to save more animals now and not just allow for natural growth as by all the other animals? Over a period of 1,000 years or more, there could definitely be a major population explosion among the tahor animals. Moreover, isn't this an anachronistic way of looking at the events of the flood? For we are putting our own Jewish values onto Noach and God's command to him. Chazal teach us that besides for the homiletic approach, drash, as in the midrashim, the text must also conform with the pshat, the simple understanding of the verse. The events of after the flood answers our questions. The midrashim and commentators were correct in their approach. However, it wasn't for the Jewish future, but for humanity's immediate future. In terms of food, after the flood, God now allowed animals to be food for humans, as the plant vegetation had been until now. In terms of sacrifices, the Torah tells us how after God had sent Noach and everyone and everything out from the ark, Vayiven Noach mizbeach Lashem. Noach built an altar to God. Vayikach mikol ha-behema ha-Torah mikol ha'of ha-tahor. Noach took from all the tahor animals and from all the tahor birds. Vayal olot b'mizbeach. He offered offerings on this altar. Animal sacrifice was the standard for worship. Way before the Mishkan and Temple, the nations of the world sacrificed animals as part of their worship. So there was most definitely a need for more animals right away, especially for those that would be for food or sacrificed. Being that Noach was a product of his generation, however, he would understand that God's command of saving the tahor animals would be those animals that would be needed for food or sacrifice according to the needs and customs of his generation and not according to our halacha. We probably would be somewhat surprised that some of the animals that Noach considered to be tahor worthy of food or to be sacrificed. Putting ourselves into the text can help us to better relate to it, but putting the text into ourselves can help us better understand what the text is trying to tell us. Shabbat Shalom.